So let's talk about something that hits close to home for every single one of us, our rights as consumers. Now, this isn't going to be some dry, legal rundown. Think of this as your personal toolkit, your guide to navigating the marketplace so you always get a fair shake.
You know the feeling. We've all been there, right? You buy something and it breaks the next day. Or you pay for a service that's, well, just plain awful. And you get that sinking feeling in your stomach like, is there anything I can even do about this?
And then you hear something like this. The classic brush off. The seller just wipes their hands clean and puts it all on you. It's this exact attitude, this idea that once they have your money, it's your problem, that sparked a revolution. To really get why these rights are such a big deal, we gotta pull back the curtain and look at the marketplace itself. And, it's not always the level playing field we'd like to think it is. I mean, just look at this breakdown. It really lays it all out. On one side, you've got these huge, powerful companies with deep pockets and massive influence. And on the other side, well, there's us. Individual shoppers, scattered, unorganized, making small purchases. It's a classic David and Goliath setup, and it leaves us pretty vulnerable. And that vulnerability, well, it opens the door for all kinds of exploitation. We're talking about everything from getting sold faulty goods, to being shortchanged on weight, to discovering sneaky hidden fees on your bill. And don't even get me started on false advertising. These are the exact problems that consumer rights are meant to solve. But here's the good news. Out of all that frustration, something powerful started to grow. People decided they were done being powerless. A movement was born. This didn't just happen overnight. In India, things really started getting organized back in the 1960s, mostly out of necessity, dealing with things like food shortages and black marketing. That grassroots activism grew and grew, leading to a huge moment in 1985 when the UN stepped in, and then the big one for India in 1986.
And that brings us to COPRA, the Consumer Protection Act of 1986. This was an absolute game changer. For the first time, consumers in India had a powerful legal framework to stand on. It flipped the script, making sellers accountable and finally giving buyers a real official voice. All right, so COPRA is on the books. What does that actually mean for you and me on a daily basis? Let's dive into the fundamental rights that you now have.
To understand the very first and maybe most important right, you have to hear the heartbreaking story of Reggie Matthew. He was a healthy student who went in for a simple tonsil removal, but something went terribly wrong with the anesthesia, leaving him with brain damage that crippled him for life. Reggie's story is a devastating reminder of why the right to safety is number one. Producers and service providers have to follow safety rules. It's that simple. Think about a pressure cooker, right? It's got to have a high-quality safety valve, or it could cause a horrific accident. This right says that companies are on the hook to keep you safe from their products and services. Now for a different kind of story, one with a much better outcome. Let's talk about Amrita. She was an engineering grad waiting to hear about a government job. The results were delayed and she was getting no answers. So she used the Right to Information Act. And guess what? She not only got an explanation, she got her appointment letter. Amrita's case shows this right applies to services, but you and I see it every day with products. All that stuff on the packaging, the ingredients, the weight, the expiry date, and especially the MRP, the maximum retail price, that's all there by law. You have a right to that information so you can make a smart choice, and to call them out if they're charging you more than they should. Next up, we've got Abarami's story. She signed up for a 2-year coaching course, but the teaching just wasn't good. After a year, she wanted out and asked for her money back for the second year. The institute said no, but Abarami didn't back down. She took her case to the Consumer Commission, and they made the institute give her a refund. And Abarami's fight? That's a perfect example of the right to choose. It means nobody can force you to buy a product or service you don't want. You know the classic example. You go to a shop to buy a toothpaste, and the shopkeeper says you have to buy a toothbrush with it. Nope, they can't do that. Your choice is your own. Okay, so having all these rights is fantastic, right? But what good are they if you can't actually enforce them? That is where the right to seek redressal comes in. This is the one that gives all the other rights their teeth. It means that if you've been wronged, you have the right to get compensation. It's your power to fight back. So that's the big question, isn't it? How do you actually use this right? How do you get justice? Well, the good news is the system is way more accessible than you probably think. Just take a look at Prakash's journey. A money order he sent for his daughter's wedding just vanished. The post office gave him the runaround, but he didn't give up. He got some advice, and then he went and filed a case himself. Get this, he didn't even need a lawyer. He presented his own documents, argued his own case in front of the judge, and he won. It just goes to show you that a regular person absolutely can navigate this system. So this system Prakash used, it's set up in 3 levels, and it's all based on the value of your claim. It's pretty straightforward. For most everyday issues, claims up to 1 crore rupees, you go to the district commission. If it's a bigger case, between 1 and 10 crore, you go to the state commission, and for the really big ones over 10 crore, there's the national commission. It's a clear path to justice.
So we've seen the laws, we've seen the systems, but there's one more piece to this whole puzzle. And honestly, it's the most important one. It's you, the aware, active, and alert consumer. Here are a few simple but super powerful habits you can build right now. Number 1, always get a bill. That's your proof. Number 2, keep an eye out for those quality marks like ISI or AgMark. 3, check the manufacturing and expiry dates. And maybe the most important one, if something's wrong, complain. Don't ever be afraid to speak up. Your voice is what makes this all work. And that's really the key takeaway here. We have to remember that these rights weren't just handed to us, they were fought for. The laws are an incredible tool, but the real power to shape a fair marketplace, that comes from us. It takes a little bit of effort and awareness from every single one of us. So, as we wrap this up, the old saying is absolutely true. An alert consumer is a safe consumer. Knowing your rights is the first step. The real question is, what are you going to do differently now? How will you use your power? Thanks for tuning in.